Day 2 of the Tom Bichy Soccer Tournament at Soccerplex in Germantown set up as a test of endurance and recovery for all 4 teams, since all of them had played double overtime matches less than 24 hours earlier. So the question was, which teams would have the fresher legs? In Game 1, both MC and Nassau looked remarkably fit. The pace of play was up-tempo, and there was no question the intensity was there. Watching them go at it, you got the feeling early on that the team that could capitalize on the other's mistakes would come out on top. And Nassau did just that. An MC foul just outside the 18 set up a free kick. MC stopped the initial kick, but Nassau's Reese Dalton picked up the rebound and drilled it into the left corner to put the Lions up 1-0. And Nassau carried that lead into the half. The Raptors came out aggressively in the second half and seemed to control the pace of play. But Nassau still added to their lead when the Raptors couldn't clear a Nassau attack, and Jason Alvarez weaved through the Raptors' D to make it 2-0 Lions. But just a few minutes later, the Raptors cut the lead in half when Alfarid Kamal led Brian Reyes Aranda perfectly with a beautiful through ball, and he buried it to make it 2-1 Nassau. But after that goal, another key factor in the matchup, Nassau's size advantage, really began to be felt as they repeatedly stymied MC's attacks. But then with just 14 minutes on the clock, another MC foul set up another Lions set piece, and Jason Alvarez crept in to net his second tally of the match and assure the Lions of their second win of the tournament. The loss ended a frustrating weekend for the young Raptors. They played well, but it just seemed like their opponents jumped on every little mistake. That's what happens when you lose so many players from the previous year. But history tells us this team will get better and better as the season progresses. They just ran into some really tough teams this weekend. The final game of the tournament was a bit of a study in contrast. Prince George's is very fast and very quick, and they face Camden, a team that relies more on power to get the job done. And again, both teams looked remarkably fresh. PG struck first off a set piece from the corner. Angelo Rodori laid the ball perfectly in front of the net, and Nge Mabai knocked it past the Camden keeper to put the Owls on top, 1-0. PG controlled the pace throughout the half, and with a minute left to go, it looked like they'd carry a lead into the break. But Camden finally got their first opportunity, and they took advantage of it. A beautifully placed through ball led Camden's Ethan Perry, and he beat the PG defender and keeper to knot it at 1 at the half. Prince George's again seemed to have the upper hand throughout the second half, but they just couldn't convert. As a matter of fact, neither team could. And so it was on to overtime again, perhaps the hallmark of this tournament. Neither team could mount a serious attack in the first extra period, so for the third time in the tournament, we went to double OT. But the second overtime period was stunningly brief. PG, which had controlled the pace through most of the game, finally made it work for them. Showing off their deft ball handling skills, they wove through the Camden defense, and then Yurik Nadip played a clever game of give and go with Kevin Chavez, and he knocked it past the Camden keeper for the game winner. So the second annual Tom Bichy Soccer Tournament comes to an end, and you'd have to call it a big success. 3 double overtime matches, unmatched intensity, and some really outstanding NJCAA soccer action was on display all weekend long. For the Raptor Report from the Tom Bichy Soccer Tournament, I'm Michael Brown.